What Really Happened to Petula Clark? The most commercially successful female singer in British chart history, Petula Clark was born November 15, 1932, in Epsom, England. Trained to sing by her soprano mother, Clark embarked on a stage career at the age of 7. Soon she was a fixture on British radio programs and began hosting her own regular show, Pet's Parlour, a series spotlighting patriotic songs designed to boost the morale of wartime audiences, at the tender age of 11. After entertaining British troops alongside fellow child stars Julie Andrews and Anthony Newley, Clark made her film debut with a medal for the General in 1944. By the dawn of the 50s she was a superstar throughout the UK, with a resume of close to 24 films. 1954's The Little Shoemaker was her first top 20 single, while 1960's Sailor was her first chart topper. Still, Clark struggled with her inability to shed her adolescent image. After selling over 1 million copies of 1961's Romeo, she married and relocated to France, establishing a strong fan base there on the strength of hits including Ya Ya Twist, Chariot, and Monsieur, which spotlighted a new, more sophisticated pop sound anchored by her crystalline vocals. Riding the wave of the British invasion, Clark was finally able to penetrate the U.S. market in 1964 with the Grammy-winning Downtown, the first single by a British woman ever to reach number 1 on the American pop charts. It was also the first in a series of American top 10 hits that also included 1965's I Know a Place and 1966's I Couldn't Live Without Your Love, and the number 1 smash My Love. At the same time, she remained a huge star throughout Europe, topping the British charts in 1967 with This Is My Song, taken from the film A Countess from Hong Kong. In addition to hosting her own BBC series, she also starred in the 1968 NBC television special Petula, which triggered controversy when sponsors requested that a segment with guest Harry Belafonte be cut in deference to Southern affiliates. Ultimately, the show aired in its intended form. As the 60s drew to a close, Clark's commercial stature slipped. Although singles like Don't Sleep on the Subway, The Other Mont's Grass is Always Greener, and Kiss Me Goodbye still charted on both sides of the Atlantic. In 1968, she revived her film career by starring in Finian's Rainbow, followed a year later by Goodbye, Mr. Chips. In later years, Clark focused primarily on international touring, headlining the 1981 London revival of Rodgers and Hammerstein's The Sound of Music, after starring in the 1990 musical Someone Like You, which she also co-wrote. She made her Broadway debut in Blood Brothers in 1993. Additionally, in 1988, an acid house remix of Downtown reached the UK Top 10, another honour for the female singer awarded the most gold records in British pop history. Throughout the 2000s, Clark toured fairly steadily across the globe. Her 2002 shows in France at the Olympia were recorded and released on CD and DVD, but no new studio recordings were forthcoming until she teamed with Irish band The Saw Doctors for a new version of Downtown in 2011. Soon after, she began working with producer John Williams on an album made up of newly written songs and covers, as well as a new take on Downtown. Lost in You was issued in early 2013. Just 3 years later, Clark returned with another studio album, From Now On, which featured several newly penned compositions as well as covers of classic numbers by The Beatles, Steve Winwood, and Peggy Lee. In October 2016, Clark set out on a UK tour in support of the album. That same year also saw the release of Natural Love, the Scotti Brothers recordings, a collection of the country and pop-oriented material Clark cut in the 80s. A French-language album, Vous Dites, arrived in 2018 and found Clark interpreting songs by Québécois composers like Nelson Menville, France d'Amour, Luc de la Rochelière, and others. In 1955, Clark became linked romantically with Joe Mr. Piano Henderson. Speculation that the couple planned to marry became rife. However, with the increasing glare of the public spotlight and Clark's growing fame, her career in France was just beginning. Henderson, reportedly not wanting to end up as Mr. Petula Clark, decided to end the relationship. Their professional relationship continued for a few years, culminating in the BBC radio series Pet and Mr. Piano, the last time they worked together, although they remained on friendly terms. In 1962, he penned a ballad about their breakup, called There's Nothing More to Say, for Clark's LP In Other Words. In October 1957, Clark was invited to appear at the Paris Olympia for the Europe in Degree 1 live radio show Musicorama. The next day, she was invited to the office of Vogue Records chairman Léon Cabot to discuss recording in French and working in France. There, she met her future husband, publicist Claude Wolff, to whom she was attracted immediately, and when she was told that he would work with her if she recorded in French, she agreed. They have 2 daughters and a son. Since 2012, Clark has lived for most of the year in Geneva, Switzerland. She also has a holiday chalet in the French Alps, where she likes to ski, and a pied-à-terre in London's Chelsea.